This morning, a new report from the Federal Reserve shows total household debt reached a record high of more than $18 trillion. It's an alarming sign, especially during the busy holiday shopping season. That's why this morning we're joined by finance expert Rob Reed with Forest Park Capital with some tips for keeping your festive finances a bit frugal. Rob, thank you for joining us this morning. And we were just talking a bit off air.
Yep.
Spending expected to go which way this holiday season?
I think it's going to go down just because the economy, people are holding on to their money a little bit more, hopefully.
It's been tight for people out
Yeah.
there, but it is easy to get into just a bit of a financial trouble during the holiday season. Now, how can people, and especially families, really try and navigate, the inflation and some of the price increases that we've seen out there?
So a couple things to do is obviously have a budget, how much you're going to spend. And then for those purchases, maybe use a debit card or cash rather than a credit card. Because obviously you just said $18 trillion. We don't want that number to creep up this holiday season and having to pay that off in 2026.
There are the people who always argue, oh, but I'm getting cash back. But is it worth it in those situations?
Well, not if you're paying interest, because interest on credit cards are above 20%. So if you're getting a 2 or 3% back, it's not worth the 20% you're going to be paying later on.
That's some good advice just right there in itself. And a recent survey actually from NerdWallet shows that about 31% of shoppers are still paying off last year's gifts. Now, what should people be doing at home just to try and avoid that this year, especially if they're still struggling with that old debt?
Yeah, don't overspend this year to continue that into 2026, but actually make a plan in 2026 to pay off that debt and maybe to save for next Christmas as well. So kind of doing both.
Can it be a bit of a trap too as well with people getting those 0% offers this time of year that maybe that introductory rate runs out?
Yes, and that's the big problem is they maybe switch over to that 0% rate, but they don't have a payment plan to pay it off before that 0% rate actually disappears.
So what I'm hearing from you there, if you do take one of those cards, have a plan, right?
Have a plan and just amortize it out. There's lots of calculators out there online that you can use to amortize that out to make sure you're paying that off before that period's up.
And do you have any notes for people to end this year on a high note, especially financially speaking?
Yeah, so on a high note, make sure that you have a plan. Right? Coming into the year, maybe sit down and talk about your finances with a spouse or your partner to make sure you're doing the right things.
Especially this year, things were tight for so many families out there. Was that maybe a warning for people to, hey, we have to plan a little bit better moving into 2026?
Yes, and that's one of two things. Obviously, you want to pay off any debt that you have, but also you want to save at the same time. You can't just do one or the other. You have to do both.
That's some very good advice there. Now, to anybody out there who's thinking, oh, I do have this, it's just this one thing, it's a little over budget, should they, stretch that budget a little bit this time of year?
Personally, I wouldn't. Christmas is a great holiday and it's about enjoying your family, and obviously it's gift giving as well, but making sure you're giving the right gifts that are going to make an impact on those people that are giving them to, rather than just buying it for buying it. Impulse, this is like impulse season, right? So impulses will take control of our spending sometimes. So we just need to trim that back a little bit maybe.
I need to take you home and let you talk to my wife. She's been picking out all these gifts for our son, and I said, honey, just wrap the box.
Right.
He would
He'll
love
be
it. Like you said, it's about spending time with your family and friends. No reason to break the bank. And now one final question out here. There are some changes to Social Security coming.
Yeah.
What should people know?
Yeah, so a couple different things. Starting next year, obviously the full retirement age is actually 67. In previous years, it was 2 months before that, depending on your year of birth. Obviously, we've got the COLI coming up for next year, so everybody on Social Security is getting a 2.8% increase.
That's a good thing.
Yes, more money, but obviously with things going up in cost, we still have to control that piece of it. So those are a couple different things to look forward to in 2026 for Social Security.
All right, I appreciate it, and I appreciate all your advice, and that's some useful information there.